we are here with Jamila Ross and Akino West, who are an incredible couple right here in Miami. I'm so excited to have y'all today because you're going to speak to me about a whole bunch of things that you all have done. But for anyone who doesn't know who you are you? And why is it so important that we talk to you here in Miami?
Well, we're happy to have you in our hood, Via.
I'm here. Outside. In the heat.
So, we're married. We are partners in business as well as in life.
I love it.
We started our entrepreneurial journey in 2018. We opened a 22-room bed and breakfast called the Copper Door B&B here in beautiful, historic Overtown. Since then, we've had challenges and tribulations and great successes. Once the pandemic hit, we kind of switched gears. We're really restaurant people that have opened up a hotel. And so we kind of relied on what we originally knew and fell back on all of our skill sets in the kitchen to create a pop-up restaurant called Rosie's, which operates to this day. And we've gone from a pop-up space to a permanent space where we host guests for brunch and dinner.
I love that. Congratulations. What a journey as well. And shout out to Black Love. Okay. Now we are here in Miami, but we are in a very specific neighborhood that has a lot of cultural and historical significance. Can y'all tell me about the importance and why we had to shoot here?
Yeah.
Where we are. Where are we?
So yeah, we're in Overtown. Used to be called Color Town.
Wow.
Obviously a beautiful place, definitely has a lot of history that mainly focuses on, Black history. And obviously the goal is that how can we still preserve that history and make sure that the owners of the land stays the owner.
I love that. I think that's so important. And you talked about how it was called Colored Town.
Yeah.
And I know we're going to talk about this a little later, but I also want to get into, since we're here in front of the Lyric Theater and we're going to talk about that as well, like why was it called Colored Town? Take us through a little bit of the cultural and historical significance of
Jamila, you
that.
want to talk on it? Go ahead for it.
So originally, during times of segregation, there were spaces that were meant for people of color, and there are spaces that weren't meant for people of color. So this happened to be kind of the landmark space for Black entrepreneurship and success and business, as well as just like a residential lifestyle. It was very much a true community. So with the infrastructure of I-95, amongst a lot of other political things, the neighborhood was kind of forced to adapt to their new infrastructure. With that, the segregation became even more predominant. And, Overtown in general is really known as a happening place with amazing music and great history.
Yeah.
A lot of the well-known artists that we knew from that time would perform on Miami Beach, but due to segregation laws, couldn't actually stay there. So they would make their way Overtown. To enjoy, to live life, feel comfortable, and be within a space where people look like them.
I love that.
It's like a safe place.
A safe space, quite literally. I mean, and there is, with all that's going on in the state, safe spaces still are very important for us.
Sure.
And I'm so honored to talk to y'all because you've created many safe spaces for our community. But talk to me a little bit about Copper Door and what that meant to you all as far as creating connection within our community. Why was it important for you all to have a bed and breakfast?
Yes. So, Jamila came up with this beautiful idea of like, let's create a bed and breakfast and let's find a place that talks about Black history, and then when the developer, we were looking around different locations, developer pretty much came to us and say, hey guys, we have this beautiful 22-room, hostel, bed and breakfast. And, I'm like the skeptical one.
Yeah.
Jamila is definitely more on the artistic side of let's go check it out. Let's find out, see what he's actually talking about. We walked into the space, little rundown, and I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work.
Right, you didn't see the vision.
Yeah. And Jamila was like, no, this has history. This has love. This has a lot of potential. And for me, I feel like that's what's always been important to me is understanding what my partner also wants and be able to follow that dream and be able to see where we can kind of connect that, So
that's on record, right?
And this is being filmed.
Yeah. And for me, it was all right, cool. We can still serve breakfast. We were both in the hospitality industry, mainly focused on restaurants. I was like, we can serve breakfast, so I guess still focus on how we can, bring everyone to a communal table from different walks of life, from, different backgrounds, races, no matter what they're going through today, and be able to talk about it at a table and be able to tell everyone about different areas they can travel in Miami, not just South Beach, you know? I find that to be so important. Why you're in Overtown, why did you decide to go to Little Haiti? the cultural centers, the Little Havana, like talk about those spaces that a lot of people sometimes choose to not touch on.
Yes. Yes. No, it's true. I've been in Miami for many a trip,
Right.
especially in college. There's a lot of conferences here, and I have never been to Overtown, and I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for coming through.
Of course, where like so much history happened, and so many people, like you said, could not stay on South Beach. So now I love that we are there by the droves, but it's important that we come here and support and continue the legacy. Now, my biggest thing is talking about your new restaurant, Rosie's, which started as a pop-up. So talk to me a little bit about why it was important for you to return to what you knew as a restaurateur and what you hope the space offers to this community in Overtown.
So, I mean, I think that when, the pandemic started to become a thing, we didn't really know what to expect, obviously, like everyone else. We wanted to make sure, because we were getting many calls from guests that were still out at sea on cruises and things like that, asking, begging to hold their rooms. So we really wanted to make sure that we created something that was still driven in breakfast. We wanted to make sure that we can still kind of that they could rely on us while we kind of make maneuvers in order to survive. So we kind of curated the menu based on home style foods. We want to create comfort food for a very uncomfortable time. And because the breakfast amenity was something that was really specific to our guests, we wanted something that people within the community would finally have the chance to enjoy as well. So
I really love that line, comfort food for a really uncomfortable time. So I love the name Rosie's. Tell me why you named it Rosie's. And I heard the menu's very special. So tell me why this menu is very specific to you.
So we came up with the name Rosie's. We wanted something cute, but that also paid homage to our mothers and just our upbringing growing up. So Rosie is my mother's childhood nickname, and it just it feels good.
It does feel good. Like I'm gonna Rosie's for breakfast. I love that. And then the menu, I hear there's a reason why it has certain things on it. Tell me about the menu.
So initially we curated the menu to be kind of international. With the bed and breakfast concept, our guests would receive one dish every morning that everyone would enjoy simultaneously.
Wow. So you send it all out at 9 o'clock or something like that. Like, how would you do that?
So guests would check in, they would book their reservation for breakfast, and then in intervals of 30 minutes, we would host 10 guests at a time.
That's so cool. It creates okay, that's so cute.
They loved it. It was great. Yes. It was great. And so we wanted to create that in order to create sustainability in our food purchases and food costs. And we were able to kind of play with different menu items. So for example, if we were serving pancakes one morning for breakfast and there was leftover batter, we would then create muffins and cookies out of that same base mix as snacks throughout the day.
So no wasted food, no reason to throw things away. I think that's so important. And what other dishes are created from one dish to another? Give me another example, because I like that.
Yeah, I mean, when the pandemic happened, we had fridges full of food and not many people to serve for. So that's kind of how we also created Rosie's, which was based on the need to protect that sustainability so that food wasn't going to waste. So we were able to participate in a lot of non-for-profits that were giving back to the homeless and those in need. We partnered with World Central Kitchen for a lot of our initiatives, which we're really, really proud of. And it gave us the opportunity to not only spread the word about awareness, such as for voting, but also the, homelessness here in Miami.
Yeah, both really important topics. And I love that you all are so well-versed in this community that you know where to show up for people and you know how to get to the right people. And I'm obsessed. Okay, so we're in front of the historic Lyric Theater, which if people who have not visited Miami in this part specifically before might not know about, what is this theater and why is it so important?
It's super important. So we're in the heart of Overtown right now. The Lyric Theater was built many, many years ago. And like I mentioned before, entertainment was such an important part to this community. So this is the hub. This is our Apollo. This is where all the music goes down and all the great times happen. And even till today, the Black archives live here. So original art pieces from outstanding artists like world-renowned Purvis Young, for example. So this is really a true gem that they've been able, that the community has been able to maintain, and we're bringing it into a modern perspective. We've hosted everyone from Issa Rae. Oprah Winfrey has visited many of our businesses here in Overtown. So we're in a very special place.
I love that. And I hope people who are watching here today want to come and support this and the entire town, right? Because I think our ancestors will be proud. we're in the presence of so much Black history, and I'm just excited even to be outside, even though it's very hot and there's so much going on. But why is it so important to protect Black history, especially here in Overtown, but in all of Miami, especially now?
Yeah, so obviously, protecting the history is so important. Obviously, when we created Rosie's and the Copper Door was to talk about that history and talk about, what our ancestors have, brought to us, and also what we decided to keep going to, just prolong, the talk and the conversation, especially from like the young kids moving on up. Like if we don't talk about these things, then we're not doing our part within our culture, for sure.
And yes, I love that point about young people knowing what is happening. And especially as someone who comes here like once a year, I've never known about it. So that awareness is everything. And speaking of awareness, like how important is that to tourism and patronage of the different parts of Miami overall? When we think of in terms of sustainability for our communities that need us to come and be there, how important is that awareness and the patronage for them?
It's the most important. Our economy is built and based on tourism. So when we isolate everyone's dollars to one particular place, we all lose out, right? So just through word of mouth, through having great options for people, the more that we're able to provide as a community, the more the experience grows at that point.
Yes, I love that.
So being able to be within business, especially in tourism, is so important. We just want to expose outsiders to, what it is to live like a local, where are the best places to eat, and how many cultural pockets there are. There's so many nationalities that take up Miami, so to focus on one or two isn't fair.
Speak. That's a word right there. Now we're going to go inside because we over here melting our faces off, but I want to talk more about all that you do. And we are going to also make sure we include our other guests so we can all get a round table. So y'all ready?
Yes, ready. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Touch.